Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. In today's episode we are going to be looking at March's exceptional story for a dream of innocence. Now, as always on the first episode of a new story, I will tell you that if you want to play these yourselves, please do. There will be spoilers ahead. You'll also get access to the House of Chimes and stuff, and an expanded opportunity deck, and a second candle if you buy the exceptional membership, which you really should. So without further ado, let's carry on. You find yourself in Jekyll Gardens, among the strolling couples and boulevardiers walking their weasels. The gardens are well lit, so you spot the 3 chalk marks on the willow tree from quite a distance. Someone has a message for you. Well, possibly not you specifically. Behind a nearby pavilion is a dead drop, a nook for passing discreet messages without ever meeting. Even novices of the great game know about this one. It's used more for announcements than real secrets. Let's take a look behind the pavilion. Examine the dead drop. The message behind the brick is plainly written. Evidently, whoever left it was either an amateur or in an enormous hurry to forego encryption. The content of the message leads you to believe it was the latter. It reads, "Agent disowned. Resolution contract offered. Usual channels." You dispose of the note. Leaving notes like this in clear speech could get moderately honest agents killed. Contract offered, eh? Well, you might have to meet with someone. Consider our contacts in the great game. Your acquaintances within the great game lead to the repudiated Deviless, a veteran broker of information who is said to prefer silver to brass. She likes to keep business brisk, cheap, and public. The Deviless communicates via personal advertisements in one of the cheaper newspapers. Her encryption is tricky, though. She prefers metaphor to mathematics. You spend hours over smudged newsprint, a Bible and books of romantic poetry before you have an answer. She will meet you at the Singing Mandrake tomorrow evening. Either that or she's going to sea, never to return, depending on how one interprets Coleridge. Well, let's attend the meeting with the repudiated Deviless. You'll have to buy your own drink, of course. The Deviless tuts when you mention the message. Yes, there is something there. But don't these people know how to do business? Do they leave messages in plain speech in Vienna? In Moscow? She shakes her head, aghast at the perfidy of mortals. In any case, she continues, an agent known as the Abbess is being hunted by her former organization. Poor thing. Probably not the Vatican, despite her name. There's a handsome bounty on information regarding her activities and whereabouts, or the return of her person. That's all I have at the moment, so I'll only need an arguably modest slice of the take if you find her. You're on the trail of the Abbess, a rogue agent in the great game. Your business with the repudiated Deviless is done for the moment, but you've not finished your drinks. A local banjo player starts up a mournful surface song, and the Deviless leans in towards you. We hardly know each other. For me, the great game is a necessity after I fell out with the embassy here. Why are you on board? So we can choose Empress, God, and country. Even in these low times, there are some things worth preserving. We can choose the game itself. A game exists to be played, and you have the skill. Allegiance is an illusion. Or we can choose money. Spycraft is a trade, and you are a professional who expects to be paid for your service Personally, it's going to be because it's a game. The repudiated deviless sighs. To be so free. Allegiance is costly, and appetite is a weight around the neck. The game played purely for its own sake is the game played well. You leave the singing mandrake, separately, of course, and step into the damp air outside. You play for the thrill of the game. Oh no, so we have a quality now, which is probably going to be factored into something. You are on the trail of the Abbess, a disavowed agent of a foreign power, loose in London. The information you have is shallower than a curate's pockets. Where are you to start? Happily, you're familiar with the habits of the younger clerks in the Europe office. You loiter at a whelk stand and over several days strike up an acquaintance with a particularly talkative specimen. You meet near the river. Your F.O. fellow would never accept a bribe, but he might grow indiscreet over a neighbourly pint of cockles. The young clerk wipes the vinegar off his sandy moustache. Yes, that one did cross my desk a few days back. She's French. Their Black Chamber has always recruited from the church, as far back as the Red Eminence. We've had no sight of her. The Cloak and Dagger boys set a watch on her house in Thrall Street for a while, but nothing came of that. The only thing they reported was a few rubbery men hanging around the place with those yellow rocks of theirs. Anyway, thanks for the cockles. As he walks away, the clerk turns back to look at you, as if he's fixing your face in memory. You now have several possible avenues of information to pursue. Some options may attract more attention than others. What do we have down here? Your activities have made only tiny ripples in the Great Game, and we've gained 6 moves in the Great Game. The Abbess is known to associate with Rubbery Men. Perhaps you could find more among their kind. The Abbess is an agent of the Great Game. Other agents may know her, or at least know of her. And we've learned the Abbess has a house on Thrall Street. But the real question is, where do we want to start? I'm thinking other agents of the Great Game, which it seems like a more dangerous choice, but if she's a big player, people will know who she is. Even the smallest boats leave a wake. The Abbess will not have moved through London unseen. What were her interests? Where was she working? There are 1,000 spies in London. One of them will know. So let's meet a contact at Wilmot's End. A worn tomb near the Foreign Office. The twitch of a newspaper. The slight woman crushes her cigar stub into the weed-strewn gravel near the tomb. She doesn't look directly at you. The Abbess, French, been in London a year, clumsy. Her employers think she's gone native, or mad. Few would pay to turn her. The woman lifts the duffel bag and heads towards the Foreign Office. She had an interest in amber, but also in coins. Your contact can only mean the numismatrix, the coin dealer who has survived long decades on the Great Games board. You'll have to speak to her. But we have 2 options. We can either approach the numismatrix carefully, employ a dead drop and careful encryption in your inquiry, or we can go straight to the shop. This business with codes and dead drops is humbug. Best to deal face to face. I think I'm just going to go straight to the shop, you know. Not the stealthiest way of doing things, but let's see what happens. The numismatrix nods from behind her jade countertop as you enter her formidably secure little coin shop. She throws a cloth over the copper coins she was inspecting and smiles sharp as her crossbow traps. The smile vanishes when you mention the Abbess. I have no idea who that might be. Now, can I interest you in some 4th City silver? The numismatrix rolls her eyes and mimes out writing a message. She bustles you out and closes her shop before you can object. I feel like that could have gone better. Oh, we got a message. A message from the numismatrix arrives the next day. The message is short. The hand is not the numismatrix's own. The abbess was regarded as barely competent by her French handlers, to whom she has stopped reporting. I thought she was not long for the game, one way or another. She was assigned to watch the Rubbery Men, which is a terrible posting. Perhaps she was angry about that, or regretting the mistakes that brought her here. Do not come to the shop for a time. Oh, we do have a Vienna opening. Well, it makes sense that we go to the Rubbery Connection. Agents of the Foreign Office saw Rubbery Men around the house of the abbess in spite. The Rubbery Men are hardly easy to speak with, but perhaps you can learn something of use. Well, let's meet a rubbery pair of your acquaintance. These two engage in the common Rubbery Man occupation of dealing in amber, and occasionally knock on the door of your lodgings. Perhaps they might know the abbess? It's hard to tell this boneless pair apart. They wear the same threadbare brown suits and scuffed Oxfords. You mention the abbess. One of the pair honks non-committally. The other cocks an ear in the manner of a tentacular retriever. You don't have much of a description to offer them, but you try your best. A woman, not a local, could be a friend to the rubbery folk. Yellow eyes light up with recognition. They know who you mean. The rubbery pair attempt to give you directions. It's a ghastly business involving streets approximated with face tentacles and a great deal of spitly hooting. They appear to be talking about a small street behind Somerset College. Well, let's go to the street behind Somerset, follow the somewhat repulsive directions. The back street is busy with the practicalities of university life. Sturdy carts full of victuals, books and laboratory supplies are being unloaded by junior porters. There is a stall nearby that has a rough but jolly sign of a rubbery man holding a pickaxe. The stall holder is a woman, but not the abbess. You're sure the deviless would have told you if the abbess was a drownie. The stall advertises the deluged descent's splunking business, tours of the great below, secrets and wonders of the Rubbery Men. Well, let's speak with a deluged descent. The deluged descent keeps an ear to the warblings of the Rubbery Men. Perhaps she knows something of the abbess. The deluged descent looks like a week-old corpse, dragged from an especially polluted river. But she speaks with a tone that suggests years of elocution lessons and lectureship at Somerset. You mention the abbess. The docent taps her blue eye fingers a moment. Ah, yes, interesting sort, even if she is foreign. I've known her a year. She's always asking about the rubberies, and she funded a trip down to their Flute Street caverns. She went there in search of vital essences, and when she came back was most taken with the revitalizing properties. One has one's doubts, but she paid well enough. She left this behind when we last talked. The docent hands you a curious object of greenish stone, an unearthly fossil. We only have one place left to go, the house on Thrall Street. Thrall Street is in a quiet little corner of Spite. Despite the locale, the street is meticulously kept. No doorstep here is left unscrubbed, and the windows are meticulously free of cobwebs. To find the correct house, all you have is the street. Which of these little houses contains the abbess? Curtains twitch in several windows as you examine the street. Your observations are being observed. Fortunately, the street is short and your goal is obvious. Number 14 has no chimney smoke, and all the curtains are closed in the busiest part of the day. A second glance reveals an untouched sack of coal sitting in the tiny front yard. No resident would leave their coal so exposed, even though it seems the neighborhood is an honest one. You'd best move on and return later before you attract more attention. So we can go back when silence comes, head to the back door of number 14 when respectable folk are abed. You pass a constable at the entrance to Thrall Street, but he's more interested in his pipe than you. The street is still. You head down a muddy entryway between the close terraces, clamber over a red brick garden wall, and you're in the back garden of number 14. There are no lamps lit. You find the back door by the light of false stars. The rusty lock only protests your trespass for a moment, and you cautiously step inside. What's that smell? Lemon, perhaps? And salt? The smell of Rubbery Men. We can proceed carefully, search the house slowly and with care, or we can proceed quickly, search the house quickly with little regard for leaving a mess. No, we'll be careful because we are breaking and entering. All the house's curtains are shut, so you risk a candle. There are signs of a hurried exit, drawers left open, a half-packed carpet bag. The bag bears the crest of the partisan outfitter. This is your mark, all right. From the ash in the grate and the food in the kitchen, you estimate this house has been abandoned nearly a week. The whole house reeks of the Rubbery Men. You step about, disturbing as little as you can. There's little personal left here. Some splodunking tools and a little amber, which you will leave be. You do find an incautiously unburned receipt. The abbess has hired a small workshop on Watchmaker's Hill. That's a fine lead, but a half-prepared agent is a compromised agent, so it would be best to ensure you have all the relevant information before you go there. Well, I think we do. So now's the time to consider our current information. The abbess is a rogue French agent, not a notably good one, who was tasked with watching Rubbery activity in the 5th city. She has visited the deep caverns of Flute Street and has left her house in a great hurry. The best lead you have is the abbess has hired a workshop near Watchmaker's Hill for some unknown purpose. Well, let's visit the workshop. A high fence surrounds a former stable now used for industry. The sagging wooden walls are not overlooked. The former stable contains devices of steel, amber, and glass, made by no human hand. There are tanks of lemon-smelling, vicious slime. Buzzing electrical equipment of uncertain character and nodules of amber by the hundredweight. One tank, made of steel and smoked glass, is the size of a hansom. There's something, or possibly someone, in it. Not quite Rubbery Man or human. The figure is unformed and featureless, like an unfinished statue. It is quiet and still, although its chest rises and falls perhaps twice a minute. What was the abbess doing here? You see a group of crates made into a makeshift desk. There are notes, journals, and drawings here. The abbess's notes detail her plan to travel on foot somewhere outside London, but don't say where. She mentions tents and preserved food, so it was likely somewhere uncivilized. The journals are in French and speak of a posting to Canada years ago. The abbess was crossed in love by a rival spy and had to flee. Her professional reputation never recovered from this, and she was posted to the Russian East before requesting her current role. Her journals make it clear that she's looking for a change in fortune here. Let's examine the notes on the creature in the tank. The technical language might be a challenge, but you'll manage. The notes on the abbess's work fill 3 large notebooks. The creature in the tank is an experiment, an attempt to create a person using vital essences. The abbess learned the flesh-shaping technology from the Flukes and their rubbery servants when she visited Thrall Street, the Flukes' haven far below London's cobblestones. The abbess's experiment is nearly complete. Her notes stop in mid-sentence, as if she left her work in a great hurry. A bubble of air rises from the creature's mouth through the syrupy liquid in the tank. Is the shapeless thing inside watching you? You don't know where the abbess went, other than it was outside London. The creature in the tank, however, had every opportunity to observe the abbess, if it can observe at all. It's a last prayer, but it is a lead. Perhaps it would be best to complete the abbess's experiment. There doesn't seem to be much more work to do. You just need to uncover the final step. Examine what you need to do to awaken the creature. The last step in awakening the creature in the smoky glass tank is to apply a particular vital essence, a piece of amber that had long been handled by a specific individual. The abbess has procured 2 of these and had yet to choose between them. Joanna was long in the presence of a gifted young painter in Austria, and Charles was held for a decade by a monk from a silent order in Gascony. The abbess didn't know the extent to which the chosen essence would affect the creature. It was the question she was trying to answer. So we can choose Joanna or we can choose Charles. More artistry in the world would be preferable, or the world could benefit from a more quiet contemplation. I think I'm going to pick Charles. You put on the heavy blacksmith's gloves that the abbess procured for the purpose and pick up the rounded piece of greenish amber. It would be unwise to touch it directly. Mixing essences at this juncture could be fatal for the recipient. You open the steel hatch in the abbess's device and deposit Charles inside. The hatch closes with solemn certainty. You check the dials, light the furnace, and stack the crates of amber. You are ready to begin. The abbess's device gurgles impassively at you. The blackened steel frame creaks as the amber furnace heats up. Are you really doing this to pursue a lead in the great game, or is something else driving you? So we can choose the advancement of science. If it can be attempted, it should be attempted. We can choose the great game. You're pursuing an investigation. This is a professional manner. Or we can choose the freedom of the occupant. The entity in the tank is incarcerated. They should be freed. I'm going to choose the Great Game. You stoke the amber furnace hotter. The instructions you are working to are from a conversation with a fluke, transcribed by the abbess. That the creature in the smoky glass tank knows where the abbess went is a slim hope. But you are not about to abandon even a small chance. You consult the notes again and check the furnace's thermometer. The figure in the syrupy liquid presses itself against the front of the tank. You can see 4 limbs and a head, but the features are obscured by the thick liquid. You see no eyes, but you are being watched. Condensation swathes the wooden workshop. Your labours and heat from the furnace wet your amber-lit brow. Pull the switch, complete the work. You close the heavy electrical switch. The creature in the tank screams and thrashes like a boiling lobster. You're tempted to stop, but it will die if you halt the operation now. You pour sack after sack of amber nodules into the furnace, which glows with an unearthly purple-black light. It's hot enough in the workshop to force smoke from the wooden beams, but you push in the last shovelfuls of amber. The controls are too hot to touch. Your jacket smokes as you wrap it around your hand to push the final buttons. The creature's screams rise in pitch to beyond your hearing. It pounds its fist on the inside, and a crack like a branching tree forms. The tank shatters, birthing the lemon-smelling creature into the world. You rush to wipe the slime off its face and get your creation breathing. A new creature is born. We can meet the new dreamer. Your creation's eyes move rapidly, but are fixed on something far away, as if he is dreaming. The new dreamer lies unmoving for a moment, and then emits a ragged, barking cough and a quart of yellow slime. You hammer on his back as he takes his first painful breath. You drape your coat around his shoulders in the name of modesty. The new dreamer's voice isn't working yet, but he points to a jug of water. You wait while he drinks and ablutes. The pair of you have made a fierce racket. You bundle the new dreamer away to your lodgings before any constables make your business into their business. Your new companion has bathed, imbibed a little tea, and is gazing around your parlour from the comfort of your best armchair. What is it with people coming into my house and sitting in my armchairs at the moment? Treat your new friend with kindness. One's birth is a traumatic time after all, or we can keep the creature at arm's length. One does not know where this entity has been. In a manner of speaking, we will treat him with kindness. The new dreamer looks at his fingers poking out of your coat cuffs for a long time. When he speaks, it is with a faint French accent. I was in that tank, I suppose, for so very long, but I was dreaming about remembering an old place. The dreamer smiles. I like my new hands and my voice. I've not had a voice for such a long time. The new dreamer cautiously takes your hand. He is happier having touched someone. I've dreamed of this city, from far away, and of you. I know you want to hear secrets. Will you show me the city? And before we take a stroll around the city, I think I'm going to have to end the first episode here, although I am getting rather intrigued about this new creature in the world here. So, I am going to thank you all very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you next time.